So real quick here, our Legend and Titans, okay, Titan, Legend, that's our hybrid players, okay? Those are going to be, some people call them Jokers, some people call them Wolves. They have all different sorts of names. We call them Legend and Titan because we're the Legend Titans. We'll keep it simple. We're a field and boundary team, so our Titan is always going to go to the field. Our Sam backer is always going to go to the field, and when we have a field side end, that's always going to go to the field. Those guys always are on the field no matter what. Boundary end, Will, and Legend are always going to be to the boundary, okay? So that's how we play it. Our Legends and Titans are always on a number 2 receiver. If there is no number 2 receiver, then we're kind of like an overhang player at about 4x4. Or in this situation, there's a tight end attached, so my Titan's 4x4. Ends are in a 5, nose is in a 0, and in a 5. So we're outside shaded tackles, head up the center by the nose. Backers are going to be stacked on them. Okay, that's just at our base. Okay, this is a 2x2 look. Right, we got 2 receivers here, 2 eligible over here, so free safety is going to play that balance. He's going to sit in the middle of the field. Okay, if the ball's on a hash, we might shade him towards the field a little bit. Okay, but that's kind of our base alignment in terms of things. So our fire, now how we label, I would say over half of our blitzes, we label them because it tells the D-line which direction they're slanting. Okay, so if it's a fire call, fire starts with an F, our D-line slants to the field. Okay, they don't need to know what fire is. They don't need to know who's going where. They just need to know that I'm slanting to the field. Okay, if it's a blaze, starts with a B, I know I got to slant to the boundary. All right, Mike's responsibility is to tell them, is it field left or is it field right? And they know that pre-snap. Okay, now most players are going to be smart enough to find the goalpost or find the hash and know if it's field left or field right. But if the ball is somewhere in the middle, that's going to be Mike's call to get field left, field right. If it's in the middle, we always go field to the quarterback's throwing side, just because they have a tendency to throw to that side more than across their bodies. But our fire call, which is diagrammed here, D-line slanting to the field because we're in a field left, because we have Titan Sam and field end, so that means we're in a field left, okay? So that means our D ends and our nose are slanting one gap to the field, and we're bringing our Sam backer into B gap, okay? So that's our fire. Our blaze would be the exact opposite, okay? Boundary end is going to the boundary. Nose is going boundary A. Field side end's going field B. Okay, Sam and Mike are not blitzing, and now Will would be coming into B gap because this end's going out. So they're just opposites of it. So fire and blaze are just opposites of each other. Okay. Now, one thing that we teach our kids, and you'll see it on the video cut-ups, we have a saying called blitz with a purpose. Okay, blitz with a purpose. Too many times early in my career, we had linebackers, because you guys know how linebackers are. We all do, okay? Linebackers will just fly into their gap. They'll just go flying 100 miles an hour. They'll just hit somebody. They don't care who it is, okay? 9 times out of 10, they're taking themselves out of the play, okay? Especially with the rise in the zone schemes and the outside zone and the reach plays. If we're firing in, for instance, if they run zone to this direction and we just fire in B gap on this backside, the ball carrier is so long gone, it's not going to matter, okay? So we blitz with a purpose. We are a B-gap blitzer on fire, but B-gap might not be right here. If they're reaching and running this way as an offensive line, B-gap is now going to shift, so my blitz is going to shift. So we never show blitzes. Okay, now you'll see some of my yahoos on the videos that they'll start creeping and stuff. They probably got in trouble for that Saturday morning in film, okay? But we don't want to show our blitz. One, most offensive line rules, they communicate who they got on their doubles. They communicate if there's a blitzer because they'll change their protections or change their calls. We don't want them to know which way we're slanting. We don't want them to know which way we're blitzing. We want every play to look the exact same so they have no clue what's going on, okay? So we don't show blitz for that reason. 2, the reason we don't show is because of blitzing with a purpose. If I show blitz, I'm committed to B gap right now where B gap is, okay? If I stay off the ball, now when I blitz on the snap, I can adjust my path to where my gap is going, which is going to make me a more effective player for my defense. I'm not taking myself out of the play, okay? That's the great thing about blitzing late. Yes, you're going to be a tad late to the quarterback or to a tackle for loss, all right? But we're going to be more involved in more plays than if we just blindly blitz or show blitz, okay? And nowadays, with how sophisticated offenses are and how good offensive lines are at communicating, if we show blitz, they're going to pick it up right away, okay? And these guys, for me, this year, Sam is about 170, 180 pounds. Mike's about 180. My Will's about 165, okay? I don't want them going up to the line and being face-to-face with a 270-pound lineman, okay? We're not going to win that battle. But we stay back and we hit gaps with speed and we get to linemen as they're engaged with another lineman and can just beat them before they can come off their double team, now we're in the game. Now we're winning, okay? So that's fire and blaze. Fire, we're slanted to the field as a D-line. Blaze, we would slant to the boundary. Fire, Sam's coming through B-gap. Blaze, with the D-line going to the boundary, Will would come firing through, okay? So here's an example of fire. So we're in a field right as a defense. Field is down here. So my Sam is going to be right here, okay? So you're going to see D-line is slanting to the field, and you're going to see Sam coming right into B-gap. But this is a great example. I think they end up getting some yards on this because it's outside. But what you'll see is how Sam changes his blitz path as he's going, okay? So as we watch it here again, here's Sam, here's our blitzer, all right? He's showing it, which isn't good, okay? But watch how he adjusts. You see right there how he adjusts to B-gap, okay? He adjusts his blitz path to B-gap on that, and that's what we want, okay? That's what we want to do, all right? So I'll show you again, okay? We were a young defense last year. All my linebackers come back. Some of my D linemen come back, but again, the IQ is there. B-gap is right here. He adjusts to B-gap. He doesn't just blindly run straight forward. He adjusts and at least gives himself a chance to get in on that tackle, okay? Or to string that ball carrier more lateral instead of vertical like we want, okay? Like I mentioned, with all four-man pressures, there could be a twist opposite, okay? When we twist, our nose is going to go first. Our nose is going to fight to whatever side I tell him to. We just have hand signals to tell them which way they're going, okay? The nose is going to go first, which is going to open up the end coming off his rear into A-gap, okay? 9 times out of 10, especially with our stud nose that we've had for 3 years now, the center and guard are going to just run with him, and here he comes right through our end, okay? But the key is you have to blitz opposite of the twist. If you blitz to the same side, there's too much meshing going on because the end and the end and the nose have to mesh and the backer has to mesh with them. Just too much going on, okay? So here you're going to see that we do a twist with a blitz opposite, okay? Twist with the blitz opposite. All right, we're in a field left as a defense, okay? So you see the twist at the top of the screen with the fire coming through, all right? We'll watch that again, okay? So we would call this a boundary twist fire, all right? So these two are going to be doing the twist. So nose is going first, this boundary end is coming around, and then my Sam right here is blitzing in through B-gap, okay? So as we watch here, twist from the nose and the end, and then Sam coming through, okay? So that's our fire twist. It's not a new pressure, okay? D-line just twisting, everyone else is running fire, nothing changes, all right? It's not a new play that they have to completely learn over again. It's just a variation of it, okay? Here's an example from the view behind. This is a pretty good view, so I wanted to put this one in. This is just from one of our contact days, okay? You're going to see a twist to the boundary again, and then Sam coming through, okay? And you can see how Sam adjusts his path. We're not in pad, so he's not going to play that super physical, but you can at least see his path here. So again, we got a boundary twist. Nose is going to go first, end comes around. Fire means Sam's going through B-gap. That end's going to slant towards the field, okay? So that's our fire twist again.